Thanks for joining us again here at Good Teams Win. Great Teams Cover. We're back with our Week 13 Thanksgiving special. So not the usual preview, but we've got our best bets only this week from the 3 Thanksgiving games. And what a slate it is. A big divisional clash in the NFC North. The comeback kids in the middle with the Chiefs and Cowboys in Dallas. And a big AFC North clash with the Ravens looking to stay at the top. So lots to cover. Byron, Joe, we always say the season really starts at Thanksgiving. And we're there. First question, most important, what are you going to be having for your Thanksgiving dinner?
Classic turkey, stuffing, some kind of potato. I don't actually know what it is, I will say. But yeah, turkey, stuffing, cranberry, potato, bosh.
Question, Byron, 1, 2, 3 types of potatoes? Or?
I think just one in this country, mate. It's a constant source of frustration, disappointment. And I mean, very grateful for everyone who does the cooking for me. But a second potato wouldn't kill you, would it, love? And obviously, lots of gravy, so...
Shout out, Cindy. Joe, yours, and you've already had one Thanksgiving with Canadian Thanksgiving already been and gone. What are you doing for round 2?
Well, I've actually taken Thanksgiving off, the American one, due to my birthday was a few days ago, so I always get a day off. So I always take it for Thanksgiving to watch plenty of football. So I'll be cooking a good chicken Sunday dinner in terms of similar to a Thanksgiving one. So chicken fries and all the trimmings as usual. So it's on me this year. So we'll see how that turns and see if I'm off Friday from food poisoning. So,
well, I know you can deliver, Joe. You will do the business.
Do you need to ask what's a potato steaks, Joe? What's going on there?
I think I'm going to go a roasted. Meg's not a fan of mashed potatoes, so it feels like an effort to make just mashed potato for myself. So it'll probably be some roasties, the traditional roasties with plenty of gravy.
Plenty of gravy. Excellent. I'm going big fuck off turkey leg. Ginormous turkey leg is what I'm going for. 2 potatoes, mash, roasties. We're going 2. There's possibly a sweet potato getting involved. So it could be 3. We'll see. But yeah, at least mash and roasties, and it's going to be good. Very much looking forward to the Black Friday leftover toasty turkey brie, cranberry, pot of gravy to dip in.
Smash. Bosh.
Watching the Black Friday game, but we're not here to talk about that. Let's talk about the games that matter, and that's the Thanksgiving games. First up, let's head to the NFC North first. And we've got a cracker in Detroit. The early game, Packers 2.5-point underdogs at the Lions, over under 49. Who will become the bear hunter with a win? After a humbling week 1 beating, MCDC will surely have the Lions fired up for revenge. But is the O-line likely to slow down Micah and the pass rush? Feel that's the story of this game. I think the Lions O-line, even though Jahmyr Gibbs ran for 5,000 yards last week on the Giants, the O-line itself still didn't play well. Goff was under a lot of pressure, and that's where he seems to struggle. I can't see on a short week how the Lions sort all that out.
Sorry, I lost my mute button. I have a lawnmower somewhere going in the background, so I'm on mute for when I'm not talking. Yes, I totally agree. I think this is the story of the game. The O-line looks spotty, to say the least. And I don't know if everyone here reads The Onion, great news organization, best in America. Tate Ratledge has had to answer questions this week about his approach to Thanksgiving, because there was a story on The Onion that he had requested Thanksgiving off to spend time with his family, and Dan Campbell had granted it. It became a talking point on Detroit talk radio. So they will have Tate Routledge there. The Onion is a spoof website, so please don't fall for their stories. You will look like a fool, Detroit talk radio. But I'm not sure there's going to be enough there. We talked yesterday on the Week 12 review of, if you get pressure on Jared Goff early and often, you're going to see a different Jared Goff. This game is indoors, but this game is against Mike Parsons and that pass rush, which dominated them Week 1. Dan Campbell has since taken over play calling with mixed success, I think it's fair to say. I fancy the Packers to come away with a win in this one, I will say. Both teams really, though, you just don't know which one's going to turn up either week for either team. So it should be a fascinating game. I think it'll be a really fun one. But I don't have a strong take, but I'm just going to take the Packers because you give me 2.5 points.
Yeah, I kind of feel like as well, the big bit in terms of how Sunday went for both of these teams, Packers had it relatively easy against the Vikings, weren't really pushed, could kind of take it easy. The Lions have just gone to overtime. It's a very short overtime, but they were pushed all the way by the Giants and obviously put a lot into that game when, really they should have been on easy street as 10-point home favourites that cost somebody their fourfold. But yeah, I think that's a factor on a short week as well. Joe, how are you seeing this NFC North clash going?
Yeah, it is a big one for Lions because I was shocked watching the 49ers on Monday Night Football when he was showing the playoff picture, the teams who are on the outside. And when he showed the Lions, I was like, oh, the Lions are actually on the outside right now. And that's, you wouldn't expect that at this point. Obviously, the teams around them are winning. So if they lose again, that's 0-2 against the Packers. And it feels like how that NFC is shaping up. You guys talked about the Bears at the weekend, but they're leading the NFC. And if it's down to the Lions and Packers, then, having a 2-game cushion there in terms of beating them twice is huge. I'm curious how, like you mentioned, it feels like the Packers defensive line is certainly heating up. Parsons is getting more and more involved. But I would say that the Lions, because they both played the Giants within close, and they both only beat them by 7 points. And when you look at the defensive stats, it is similar as well. So I think the Lions defense as well, on the flip side, that's improving when you look at how they were against the Packers earlier in the season. Aiden Hutchinson making a big play at the end of that game. So I think they're heating up as well. So I think it's just as big for the Packers or line because I know they've got injuries on there to also protect Jordan Love because, we talk about Jordan Love every week. He can do something incredible. His stats might not look good, but he has some amazing throws. But then he also makes boneheaded throws where he gives defenses chances. So I think I think that's a huge matchup as well because the Giants were able to just roll over that Lions team, especially in that first half. Wandale Robinson was getting yards after yards, and if the Lions let the Packers do that, then I think it's going to be a long day for them, and they've certainly got a better overall offense versus compared to the Giants. So, both teams didn't blow the Giants out, so I think it's still going to be a close game, being indoors. I think the Lions need it, so I'll probably lean the Lions. I think it's a close one, but I just feel like the Lions need this versus not needing it being a Thanksgiving. Like you said, Dan Campbell should be able to get his team prepared and up for this game.
Long way to go, but I feel like if the Detroit Lions drop this one, I think that it's so difficult for them to go win the division, even though they'll only be like a game back of both teams, possibly 2 on Friday, depending how the Bears go. But it feels big, this one, in terms of like dropping both. They drop both to the Packers. Packers 1-4 ATS on the road this season, but the last 4 road games have hit the over. Joe, flip to the bets for us, mate. I'm going to take the Packers. I don't like the way that the Lions are trending. That loss against the Vikings a couple of weeks ago looks so much worse now as well, given the struggles that the Vikings have had offensively. I just think they're in a bad spot, a bad moment. I think the Packers are going to come in and take advantage. Give me the 2.5. I think this might be a bit of a rock fight as well. I think this might be quite low scoring, so I'll take the 2.5. Would have loved 3, but I'll take the 2.5 with the Green Bay Packers. Byron?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be points, but I do fancy Javonte Williams and Montgomery to score this week. Javonte Williams, I think 1 target, certainly 0 catches. I think it was only 1 target.
3 targets.
3 targets, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, 0 catches, obviously 0 yards, etc. along with that Sunday. So I think he gets more involved this week, kind of just has to. Obviously, bad game planning last week to get him involved. And Dan Campbell loves David Montgomery. I said this last week and it didn't come to pass, but I think this week he gets in the end zone along with Jameson Williams. That's 15-2 for the double. Jahmyr Gibbs has been on fire since Dan Campbell took over play calling. There was no player getting more targets per route run in the NFL than Jahmyr Gibbs since Dan Campbell took over play calling. But on a short week after, like you said, 5,000 yards on Sunday, constantly touching the ball, I think they have to spread the workload out a little more. I mean, fantasy players will be saying, no, keep feeding Jahmyr Gibbs 50 touches a game. But I think realistically, on a short week against a tough defense, I think they might be more inclined to have some more up the gut runs to try and calm down that pass rush of the Packers. And JMO has to get more involved. He's explosive. He's been flashing on and off this season, but certainly more on than off lately. So I think, get them 2 into the end zone. 15-2, I think, is a real nice price for it. Joe?
Yeah, I've got something similar. I've got Montgomery 40 plus rush yards, evens. Just like you said, I think how much work Gibbs got, I think they're going to lean on Montgomery here, especially like you said, if it's a rock fight, you need both running backs to help out. Obviously, yeah, there's the issue where it's becoming so obvious that Gibbs is such a probably 2 or 3 levels above Montgomery. I think it was the other week where they played the Eagles, where it felt like Gibbs was doing any time he went to him, something happened, and then when he went to anyone else, nothing happened. So I'm going Montgomery 4 plus rush yards. I'll probably look the day before as well, because there's some big injuries around both teams. Some people not practicing today, like the linebackers in Glasgow for the Lions. So there could be quite a lot of changes, and probably look at some of the odds close to the time, because there's some huge additions where you're like, oh, if he doesn't play, then some players could have big games. But I think Montgomery is one of them who didn't have much workload, so hopefully should do against the Packers on Thursday.
Excellent, good stuff. Just shout out for this one. Obviously, with Thanksgiving comes half-time shows. Jack White of the White Stripes, Raconteurs, etc. Could be a good one. There's been some
Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, recently inductee.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some absolute bangers, so we'll see how that one goes. Next game, then let's head to Dallas, where Post Malone will be doing the halftime show. Could also be a great show. Anyway, Chiefs 3-point favorites at the Dallas Cowboys, over under 52. The comeback kings go head to head. Who stays alive in the playoff race? After 2 huge comeback wins, who will have the bounce back ability to pull off another win just 4 days later? Can either team afford a slip up? My argument to contradict your headline, Byron, that they can throw is actually, I think this is one that if you're looking at both teams' remaining schedules, if you're going to drop one, this is the one you can afford to drop. Because from a Chiefs perspective, if you drop this one against the NFC team, not as bad as the other games you've got upcoming. And, at 11-6, you probably I can't see you missing out at 11-6. So I think Chiefs can afford to drop one more. Need to go win 5 of the last 6. Cowboys, similarly, I think the Cowboys can get in at 10-6-1. That time might come back to help them. Kind of 10-6-1. And again, if you're going to drop one of those games, it's either this one or the Chargers game that you've got in a few weeks. If you're going to pick one, Cowboys, I think, are in a bit of a gateway. Win one of the next 2, and you're well within a shot. And the Chiefs can definitely win 5 of the next 6. How do you see this one going? This is likely going to be the most viewed regular season game in NFL history.
Yes, indeed. I'm just hoping instead of Post Malone, we won't be doing Toast Mahomes. Let Dallas get a nice home win and have a nice chill one. Kansas City have never won on the road in Dallas. 0-5 lifetime. They've only covered this. Well, they've pushed the spread once and failed to cover it the other times, which is kind of wild. I've gone with the Chiefs. I think they're just more well-rounded than Dallas, but Dallas have that in them to really bring out a win against anybody. So I'm probably not going to bet the line here. I think this is a really well matchup game. We'll see what Mahomes can do versus his secondary. Dallas run a lot of zone, which I think can, be tough for Rashee Rice to get going as much as he's wanted to this season. So we shall see there. I think, and again, you're not coming back on my headline because it is, can either team afford a slip? Yes, they can. This week they can. Yeah. After that, we will see. Then I think you're really into, I'll get off the bucket kind of thing. I think it's just a really interesting matchup. Both quarterbacks playing really well. Like I say, I'm leaning Chiefs, sadly, but you never quite know with Dallas this year. Yeah.
I know, yeah. I think it's going to be so close. And I think probably actually a short week for Dallas is probably a good thing off the back of that game against the Eagles, I think. Just kind of get to a game quite quickly. Joe, how are you seeing this one as a more neutral on this game?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, that line, -3, just because the Chiefs won against the Colts, and they probably deserved it just when you look at actually the stats behind the game, but the Colts had a chance to win that, and they weren't as impressive as I expected. In the last 2 weeks, I expected them to beat the Broncos. I thought it would be a tight game. I thought they'll win, and then I thought this Colts game, even though they did come back, he just wasn't the kind of Chiefs we're expecting. And this, we've talked about the Cowboys can be so up and down where, they were 21 down against the Eagles, looked like they were out of it and came back, and then they also lost the Cardinals at home and that. But then they also play amazing against the Packers and a few of these teams. So it's whoever shows up. Obviously, there's a few injuries which Tyler Guyton looks like he's questionable. Looks like he might not play. I'm guessing, and the worry is that Chris Jones looked like Chris Jones of old against the Colts, especially in that second half. So if he gets going, then that spells trouble. But Dak's been, if Dak was on a different team, he would be probably the runaway MVP. I think he's been great with what he's had around him. So I think it's a big game. Can the Chiefs, control Pickens and especially Pickens? He feels like he's been the number one compared to CeeDee Lamb, but they've got to stop both. And it feels like it's Chiefs' time of year where they sneak these victories and they start piling on there. So I'll probably lean the Chiefs as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys win this game and suddenly are back into it. Because like you said, the rest of the schedule is not crazy. But if they lose, like you said, if they lose this, they've got the Lions next. And then that is probably a must-win for both teams, especially how this Thanksgiving goes. So they'll not be able to slip up again. So yeah, it's a close one. I think it's a really fun one where how the season started, you thought, this could be a bit dangerous for the Cowboys. Could be a bit of a blowout. But yeah, certainly an intriguing one where both teams needs it.
Yeah, this was this is the beginning of the Eagles game last week on Sunday. Last week, a few days ago, it was the start of that stretch where the Cowboys were having 6 consecutive games against teams that had 11 plus wins from the season before. So this was like that hellish part of the schedule. It looks a lot better now than it did in September when you were looking at this run, just because kind of where the Vikings are, which one of the Cowboys game, where the Chargers are, the Chiefs haven't been great. Obviously managed to beat the Eagles and the Lions aren't looking good, etc. So it looks softer than it did. Still very difficult, but there is a path. And that's all I'm asking for. Stay on the path and we'll see if somehow you can crash the dance come January.
You're saying there's a chance?
I have. Verbal meme. Do you want to hear Patrick Mahomes and understat I've got for you? Good one, this one. Since 2022, when Mahomes has played for the Chiefs and the total is 50 or more for the game, the under is 15-4. In these big total games, the Chiefs just do not go over in them. All the money is on the under. It's under 52. Joe, do you want to flip to the bets? It's 91% of the money and 88% of the bets is on under 52. That's where I'm going. Cowboys defense has been great in 7 of the last 8 quarters that they've played. Quinton Williams is making a huge difference. If the Chiefs are going to commit to the run again like they did, I think they're going to struggle with it. But Rice and Worthy have also flashed on the injury report this week. Don't think the Chiefs are going to have a lot of joy in moving the ball up and down the field. Cowboys, I think, might struggle offensively in this one as well a little bit in terms of, again, I think that Chiefs defense is playing a little bit better as well. I think these might be long possessions, a lot of Javonte Williams, a lot of Kareem Hunt, a lot of time, long drive. So I'm going to go under 52. I think this is going to be a under 45 kind of game. I think it's going to be a real low-scoring game, but also a good one.
Let's hope so, if it's going to be the most watched game in NFL history, or regular season game. I kind of feel that same kind of vibe. I've gone Javonte Williams, 70-plus rush yards. Obviously, it's really easy to see Pickens going off, CeeDee Lamb going off, Ferguson, Worthy, Rice, Kelsey. But I agree, I think it's going to be a war of attrition. And I think, again, you can slow down Micah Parsons by running right at him. You can kind of lesser impact Chris Jones's impact on Dak Prescott and the passing game by running it down the throat and trying that way to, slow down the Chiefs pass rush. So I've gone Javonte Williams 70-plus rush yards at even money. Javonte maybe slowed down a little as the season's gone along, but I think he's still clearly the number one back and still very capable of putting up big games when he gets plenty of volume. So I think that's what Dallas's game plan will be. And 70-plus rushing yards, even money for me on Javonte.
Yeah, he's been so good. I think because of how good Pickens has been, we're kind of maybe forgetting a little bit how good Javonte Williams has been. He's close. He's up to close to 9. I think he's just 4 yards, 896, so just short of 900 yards for fifth. That's good for 5th in the NFL this season. Just shot 5 yards carry. I think he's playing unbelievably well and playing physical, which would be very, very important for this game as well. Joe.
Yeah, I flip-flopped a little bit with mine, but I've gone for Juju Smith-Schuster, 30-plus receiving yards is 7-2. I feel like you mentioned Rice and Worth. It looks like they will probably play. I think both of them were limited in practice. I'll be shocked if they're done. And I think the Cowboys could slow down this running game. I think most teams have. I know last week Hunt went for 100 yards, but it's not like it was. But Patrick Mahomes still threw 352 yards against that Colts defense, and I think it's probably a better defense than this Cowboys, especially on the back end and the linebackers. So I think they're going to try and target them. And Juju could be the odd man out where if they're covering Rice and Worthy, then Juju could be open. Just one of them games where he goes off, or a few of the players where you don't see him every week, but he's had 30-plus receiving yards a couple of times this year. So I think it could be a big game for him. And I think they're going to be able to pass over this Cowboys team still. And I think Juju could certainly eat. So I think it's going to be a fun game.
Excellent. Right. Third and final Thanksgiving game, the late one. Bengals 6.5-point underdogs at the Baltimore Ravens. Over unders 51.5. Ravens back on top. Lamar and Cole look to push on. After winning 5 in a row, Ravens will look to make it 6-7. But Burrow is back and sure to be giving fun, if not thanks. We have to get in on it eventually, I guess. Maybe a little bit later. No idea what it means, but glad we did it. How do you see this one? Burrow back. So, again, hopefully that makes it fun. Although Flacco's been fun. Hats off to Joe Flacco. Thank you to the Cincinnati Bengals for trading for him. Could have done it earlier, but you did it. And, you gave us 2 of the games of the year as a result of having Joe Flacco, the Jets game and the Bears game. So, Joe Flacco, you did your job. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for your service. But it's handing the keys back to Joe Burrow. Would you have done it? Would you have? Your season's dead. They can go 9-8 max. That ain't going to be good enough to get in the AFC playoffs. Would you have done it? Would you have just sat Burrow for the rest of the year, knowing kind of you can live with Flacco in a dead season? Or do you think it's the right thing to bring him back?
I would have brought him back, yeah. You have to play football. Joe Burrow's going to get banged up and injured every single season because he plays for the Bengals. So, I think you just bring him back. I don't think it's something that's going to reoccur necessarily. Obviously, any injured part can get re-injured more likely, but I don't think it's something that sitting him is going to really help. Obviously, it's a dead season, but Burrow wants to play. You just want to, and you want to be the best you can be, surely. I don't think you can play scared all the time and just get him out there, put some joy back in your franchise, maybe have a positive end of season, keep Zach Taylor around next year. Maybe is he on the hot seat if things really go badly? I don't know. But
if Joe Burrow gets hurt badly, he is. He's in
of course he is, yeah. But I would have brought Burrow back just because I think you kind of have to. He's your franchise quarterback. Yeah, you're not competing this year, but you're paying for a reason. He wants to play for a reason. Yeah, bring him back. Have some fun. Let Chase and Higgins cook. Higgins not this week, obviously. It's a concussion protocol.
Yeah. Joe, thoughts on Burrow being back and the matchup against the Ravens? We should talk about that.
I think like Barry said, if he's fit enough, then he should play. I hope he's just not coming back too early. We've seen some quarterbacks, Purdy, who had a lesser injury to happen, just come back too early and gets re-injured again. So you don't want that, especially with Burrow's history. And I feel like they've thrown away any chance of doing much. But if he's fully fit, then they have short careers. If he wants to play and whatnot, but let's hope he's not. Should be luck. And when you look at the other team, Hendrickson's out for this game, so that defense is probably going to be even worse against the Ravens. Even though the Ravens have just not looked quite right, but they just keep winning right now, and I think that's all that matters. So, get another victory, the top of the AFC North, which is crazy when you think about where they were 5 weeks ago. And they've just been winning these games, not spectacular, not looking like the Ravens of old, especially in week 1, which I know they lost, but that offense has not looked like that. And Lamar just seems not quite right, where he's just not. He doesn't look fully fit, but he's playing through something, especially in the rushing game. He's not quite what he used to be. And even though Henry's got nearly 900 yards this year, it's not looking the same old Derrick Henry. So maybe being in prime time, that they may show out and look amazing. But that defenses look better. It's still surprising when I was just looking at who's got the most sacks for the Ravens, and it's Mike Green at 2.5, which is not what you would expect with what that defense has been the last previous years, where they've had people step up to get these sacks. So we'll see how it goes. But I think the Ravens will win this. I think the Bengals. I don't know how much Joe Burrow is going to improve it. I think having Higgins out and Chase is back, obviously that helps, but that run game seemed to be going a little bit more last few weeks. But I think this Ravens defense might show up in this game, and can the Bengals defense have a good game in multiple weeks in a row? I highly doubt it, especially with their main guy out. So I expect the Ravens to win this. 6.5. Yeah, I'll probably lean the Ravens in the ATS as well. I think they'll win by a touchdown or so. They managed to do that against the Jets, win by 13 points, just not quite cover the ATS. But yeah, I think that they'll cover it, and I think the Bengals season will be officially over at 3-9. And I know they could probably still technically get in, but that'll be dead and buried.
Yeah. Just a quick one on this. I've not bet any of these props yet, but a huge Mark Andrews game would be my kind of lean for the problem, probably be my second bet. Do you want to hear some Bengals stats on how they have or have not defended against tight ends so far this season?
Well, I mean, they were the entire thing of why I went Hunter Henry in Fancy Game Day last week. So I presume there's going to be some similarity in crossover here, but I'm obviously up for hearing it.
Probably, yeah. You catch that on our 10-minute tips, which you'll get for week 13 on Saturday, and also live next on Sunday. Obviously, it got worse with Hunter Henry's massive day. So the Bengals have now given up through 11 games, 962 yards to tight ends through 11 games. Next closest is the Jacksonville Jaguars, a full almost 200 yards less. 779. Bengals have given up 13 receiving touchdowns to tight ends through 11 games. That's more than one a game. The touchdowns you're giving up to tight ends. Again, next closest. In fact, there's just a load of teams on 7. Next closest.
Any on 6-7?
Any 6-7? There's some 6-7 in. Yeah, just astonishing from game averages and fantasy points per game, 14.7 fantasy points per game to tight ends. It is insane.
I referenced their fantasy points per game last week as well. But on the season, they give up an additional 10.4 points to an average tight end. The second on that ranking is the Steelers defense, who give up 4.2. So the Bengals are worse by more than double to second. It's unbelievable.
Joe, this could be hammer the Mark Andrews props. Joe, this could be your 2 touchdowns shout on Thanksgiving that we know you love so much. 2+ touchdowns for Mark Andrews is 15-2. So not your 14-1 that you.
What about
likely? Yeah, there we go.
I was going to say, yeah.
Isaiah Likely, 20-1.
There we go. Be likely stuffing that one in my Thanksgiving stocking.
Did you get stockings at Thanksgiving? Is that a thing? No. Okay, cool. Just culture thing. I don't know. You're our man on the ground there. Cool. Head to the bets for us, Joe. Ravens -6.5. I think the Ravens are going to kill them. Ravens have let me down the last couple of weeks as big favourites. There were 7.5 point favourites against the Browns, didn't cover. 13.5 point favourites against the Jets last week, beaten by 13. This is the week they're going to do right by me. I just think. I know it's only a few days. Hoping Lamar's a little bit better. Derrick Henry's a little bit looser. And Mark Andrews and or Isaiah Likely are going to have a huge day because the Bengals just don't know how to defend tight ends. Anyone across the seam or anyone up the seam or anybody across the middle, they're just leaving 15 yards of space. So, this is going to be a big, big day for the tight ends. And, maybe the Ravens can get going a little bit, build a bit of confidence for kind of having a mini bye where maybe Lamar can heal up a bit more and Derrick Henry can as well. I just don't think the Bengals are going to want to try and tackle Derrick Henry either. It's getting a bit cold, a bit late in the year, getting a bit worn down. Just don't think they're just not going to fancy it.
They didn't want to tackle Hunter Henry. They want to try and tackle Derrick Henry. As well as that tight end stat, they're also giving up 8.6 over average to running backs. which is worse in the NFL as well for fantasy points. Second is the the Giants, weirdly, at 5.9. So, yeah, they are worst at running back and worst at tight end. Derrick Henry will cook this week because it's the Bengals.
Excellent. Next up.
Yeah, we're going points. Presuming it's me. Yep, over 51.5. I did take this when I thought Kyle Hamilton was going to miss out. John Harbaugh made some weird comments yesterday, but since then, Kyle Hamilton has practiced fully Tuesday.
Yeah,
so not quite
injury report. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what his comments were, but they kind of alluded to like they're going to rest him because he was struggling through the game on Sunday. It doesn't look like that's happening. I've misread that. I'm still going to go the over 51.5 though. Even with Kyle Hamilton, I think he can still pass on Baltimore, and I think the Ravens are going to have to withstand that passing attack because they're going to be ahead, and the Bengals aren't going to try and come back running Chase Brown. I think it's going to be throws to Jamar Chase. I think Gesicki might be in for another big game. When T. Higgins missed games last season, Gesicki's volume, basically all of his stats trebled in terms of yards per game, PPR points per game, receptions per game, etc. So I'll probably have a Gesicki ladder again for my sins. But over 51.5 is my bet anyway here. I'm hoping for points to end the day off right.
Excellent. Joe?
Yeah, I've just got DeAndre Hopkins anytime touchdown scorer. He hasn't scored that many this year, and he's not had the impact I thought he would have. But yeah, he's not got many yards compared to when you look like Zay Flowers. He's still the leading wide receiver. But when they were playing at the weekend, there was a 1 or 2 where he was like just out of his reach, where just weren't quite clicking. And I'm with Bayern. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. So I think Hopkins will get one. And yeah, I think the ball map turns up here because when you look at their fixtures, they've got the Bengals twice, the Steelers twice, and the Patriots and Packers. So they need to like beat the bad teams on that, and the Bengals are them. So they need this one. So I think they're going to pull out all the stops, and I think Hopkins could start getting into the end zone a little bit more. Because I thought he was going to have like the Devontae Adam kind of the red zone target to get like the touchdowns, maybe not the yards, but the touchdowns. But it's not quite worked. But this week, a 3-1 I think it's a good price for him. And and obviously the tight ends will probably be the second bet when we add that to this sheet.
Excellent. Any more to add for our Thanksgiving special, guys? Excellent. We'll be back with our usual preview show that will drop on Friday morning. When you're all bleary-eyed, having stayed up and watched, the 3 Thanksgiving games, give that a listen. Hopefully you've won some bets because you've been tailing us. We've been hot. 10 winning bets last week, 10 or 11? 11 winning bets in week 12. Let's kick it off right with a great start on Thanksgiving. Make sure you are following Good Teams and Great Teams cover available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Overcast, the video version available on YouTube, and follow all our social media channels at GTW_GTC, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And we'll catch you with our full Week 13 review off for the rest of the games on Friday morning.